So I want to start with a statement. It's been said that you're a product of everything that you've been exposed to, and that you took the natural steps that one would take if exposed to such. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Very interesting documentary about the artist Peter Callas, I believe. He's a sculptor, works with woodfire, rocks in particular. What I liked about this piece was how sort of raw and primal the entire aesthetic and medium was. He has a very interesting story about growing up and having his first interactions with this, and I thought it was a very interesting reflection of how a lot of artists grow up and being influenced by something and sort of feeling compelled to continue to pursue it, even though it may not seem like the natural thing to do. I felt like he had a level of fire and energy and focus that was really relatable, and his artwork was quite fascinating. And the cinematography and the way they crafted his pieces and the way they explained his process, in particular his Japanese influenced background, really give you a good context of a world that's not that familiar to the average viewer, not to me at least. And I thought it was very well designed for someone who was not used to this concept but would be interested in this type of thing. And I felt like there was just a lot of passion and detail that went to crafting it that made it really easy to get into.
The cinematography is stunning as we get to see close-up shots of the intricate textures of his raw, powerful sculpture from so many angles. I enjoyed hearing about his influences in Japan and working with another famous sculptor, Fulkus. I also liked the analysis of his work by an art expert. The video footage of his early days with Fulkus clearly showed how much he learned from him, and the music list in this film was very impressive with 12 interesting tracks.
I love the playfulness of it. Right off the bat, you know you're in for a treat. Something that, maybe doesn't take itself too seriously, just with those opening quotes from internet commenters. I thought that was a hilarious, great way to draw us in. And then, the whole piece, it's fun, it's informative. We get a bit of history, learn a little bit about the craft, really through and through an enjoyable piece.
It's very interesting to learn about this artist who is, very nonconformist in his ways, and it seemed to be somewhat a rebel in the area of stoneware creation and whatnot. So that was pretty cool. I really liked hearing about his life and all that he's been through. It's interesting to know that people who are, he talks about being rejected from academic institutions and whatnot. It's interesting to hear that people that are rejected from kind of the formal mores of society can be very successful in their own right and create their own way. So this being a film festival and kind of a home nest for artists, this is a good place for this film to be showing this kind of message and this kind of philosophy.
I think this documentary did a great job of, covering Callas and his work and looking at his modern works today, but also looking back at his earlier pieces and inspirations. And it goes into detail about, his Japanese influences and working with his mentor and seeing the progression of his work throughout time. I think that's really great to see the growth in not only his style, but within his craft and, how he's matured throughout and how notable his pieces have become throughout as well. It was really informative, really interesting. I think it had a great score backing up the piece. There were several different pieces that all matched the mood of the segment of information that was being told during that time in the documentary. But incredibly informative, incredibly interesting.
You don't always get that kind of level of access and openness with artists because the creative process is oftentimes such a personal one, and where their concepts come from, where they get that creative spark comes from is often so so personal, and so a lot of people don't like sharing it. So I thought that the level of access for this was really impressive and really amazing, and just the amount of video footage they had spanning back years and years and years, I thought was incredible and lent such insight.
Definitely gives us the ability to look into the world of this sculptor, this artist, uh, who uses clay to tell these stories. And it's very interesting watching him rise, but also deal with a lot of hardships in the sense that his beginnings weren't quaint. They weren't. I mean, well, they were. They weren't extravagant, and he definitely had to rise from a lot of humble beginnings, and it also was very interesting seeing just how much politics went into it. There was a lot of treachery and backstabbing that you don't really think of when it comes to the artist world. But it was very interesting just hearing the trials and troubles that this man went through.